And good morning. You're gonna have to bear with me today. I'm sort of not feeling well. I'm having like many MS attacks. Um, I want to talk today about service providers and what you need to do to be able to access that service. There's a service organisation that I. It's echoing really bad. Close YouTube. That's it. Um, that's got it. Um, Sorry, there was. Oh, it's doing it again. Oh, it's me. Sorry about. Yeah, sorry. What happened was I've been volunteering to this organisation for quite a few years, 5, 6 years, to help people out. Um, I like helping people, especially when they're stuck in limbo. They're jumping through all the hoops they need to jump through for the service provider to help, but they're still not being helped to what they need. Um, uh, uh, and I got a phone call last Friday afternoon from a lady who ran this organisation, spoke to a few people, didn't get anywhere. She ran back the next day. She didn't get, again, she didn't get the help that she needed. She hung up and the organisation ran back and left a voicemail for her and saying, "You have to get funding through my aged care before we can help." Then she asked, "Is that right?" And I said, "No, that's not completely right. If you can get funding through the NDIS or through my aged care, then they'll try and tap into that funding to provide services to you. However, if you don't fall under those two categories, because this organisation gets public donations, and I would say they get state and federal grants as well, so they're probably legally required to help, I assume. So I told her I would hang up and I would ring the organisation and talk to someone like a manager with a bit of position of authority to give her a call to try and help her out. So I rang the organisation and I got through to the front desk, the call centre. And I told them what it was about, and they wanted this person's contact information. So I gave the name and where the person was. They wanted the mobile number, and I refused to give it to the call centre because I actually want to speak to a manager, someone with a bit of authority in a position where they could reach out and help this person and get the ball rolling. If she had to get funding through my aged care, they could start the process anyway of self-referring, and because it takes a few weeks, even after you get the funding confirmed, it still takes a few weeks for someone from this organisation to come out and see you. So, I wanted to get them to get the ball rolling to start the process. However, they couldn't get through to the office I asked for. They said they could take a message to send it off. I said, "No, I don't want to do that. This person's already done that a few times, and they've left a voicemail, and she's really anxious and concerned, and I don't want to just leave a message. I want to speak to someone, a manager, or someone in a position of authority." So this went on for an hour, and the lady at the front desk was, very patient and understanding. She tried to help as best as she could, and I explained that, I'm not frustrated or angry with her. That I just really need to speak to someone in a position of authority to help this other person. I ended up being put through to a part of the organisation. I spoke to a team leader there and I explained what was going on. This person kept interrupting me or talking over the top, wouldn't let me finish a sentence. So I tried to remain patient. And they said, all we can do is get the name, where they live, and the contact information. And I said, well, you've already got that because you've left her a voicemail. So, why do you need? But they argued the point again. So I said, all right, look, when are you going to contact this person? And they said, I will do it within a week. And I said, yeah, okay, look, I'm not happy with this. I could have done this in the first 10 minutes, but I want to speak to someone in authority. And this person said, well, you put up the roadblocks. And I said, well, no, I didn't put up the roadblocks. The organisation put up the roadblocks. I'm trying to navigate around them for this person because I've been there before myself. This sort of thing happens to me all the time. And I get frustrated that I'm jumping through all the hoops that I need to jump through, filling out all the forms, answering all the questions, and I'm still not getting the service that I need. So it's happened to me numerous times before. This is why I didn't want to just leave it, as a message to someone and they call later. And I just didn't want this to happen for this person. I wanted them to get on it straight away and sort things out and get the ball rolling. So this person is, was really anxious when they rang and spoke to me, and I really felt for her. So I hung up there and then, and I've sort of been rethinking, you know, am I doing the right thing by being a volunteer? Because this is the third time in about 2.5 years this has happened. This is the third person that's basically said the same thing. They won't help unless they get NDIS funding or my aged care. I put in complaints before. Obviously, nothing's been done. So this is another one of my issues. When this organisation, I was a part of another organisation, a smaller one, and all the smaller ones decided to get together and form one large organisation. And I went to Tamworth because I wanted to express my fears that if this happened, all these other little organisations got together and formed one big organisation, the biggest in Australia, that they would dictate all the terms and policies and procedures that we have to abide by before they can provide a service, which I don't agree with. And that's what I expressed during that consultancy period. And I was completely shut down and ignored by this consultancy firm, who I might add wasn't based in Australia, based in New Zealand. I don't know why this happens. I don't know why we can't employ Australians first. But my fears were that one organisation has the monopoly and they get to dictate the policies and procedures and that we all have to jump through to access their service before they provide a service to us. And it's not fair. They're there to provide a service to us. We're not there to adhere to their policies and procedures. They're there to help us. And they get paid bloody good money. Because I know when they put in time to the NDIS, they don't put in the cheapest amount they can get, the smallest amount they can get. They apply for the $194 an hour they can get. Now I know they've got to pay OTs and all these other specialists. I understand that. But when you have a monopoly and you dictate the terms to your clients, then I have a problem with that. And I've been expressing that opinion for the last 20 plus years. This seems to be an ongoing issue, not with everyone, because this organisation does things exceptionally well and they employ exceptionally good people. But it's their policies and procedures that are failing the clients big time. That's what I have a problem with. they had to update my files about 2.5, 3 years ago. They wanted to update my files. And they were asking questions like, do you have a domestic violence order against you? Do you hit your wife? Do you have a drug and alcohol problem? Do you have an anger issue problem? And I thought, this is really inappropriate stuff for them to ask. So I put in a complaint about that. And the person who actually wrote those questions out rang me. And we had a heated argument at the end because I was saying, look, this is an invasion of my privacy. I don't have a drug and alcohol problem, but if I did and I was sort of getting over it, I want to put that behind me. Why should I have to bring that up every time? I've never abused a worker from this organisation. I've never been rude to an person in this organisation. And all they kept saying was, oh, we have to protect our staff. And I said to this person, well, can you give me an example where this information would have been good for you to have to update your files? And they said, oh, well, during COVID, a staff member went to a client's house and the person opened the door and seen the face mask on and slammed the door in their face. And I said, yeah, and what else? He said, no, that's it. I said, you got to be kidding. You're dealing with people who are vulnerable, who are losing their sight, who having issues. And if your staff can't handle a person who is vulnerable and anxious and frightened, then maybe they shouldn't be in that job. We couldn't agree at the end. So I said, look, we just need to end here because you're just going to beat the same bush and saying staff protection. And I'm saying privacy, privacy, privacy and confidentiality. We're not going to agree. So we end up hanging the phone up and we haven't spoke since. But it goes back to one organisation having a monopoly, dictating everything to their clients, what we have to do to access their service. No, that's not the way it works. You have to meet our needs. You have to meet our requirements. Like I said, they do stuff exceptionally well. They have exceptional staff. Like the person who works up where I live, she goes south to Corindai up to the Queensland border, out west to Wee Waa, east to Armidale. We worked it out this morning. It's like 110,000 square kilometres this person covers by herself. By herself, no help. She's the only one in the Tamworth office. I've known this person to be on the road 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. Yet when you go to Newcastle, Sydney or Wollongong, each office has multiple people. In the office. Yet because we're in regional areas, we get one person for 110,000 square kilometres. No, bite me. This person is a fantastic worker. We're going to lose them if they don't get someone in the office to help with the paperwork. She does her 8 hours seeing clients. Then she goes home and does back to a hotel room, and does hours with the paperwork for the NDIS and My Aged Care. Enough's enough. Change your policies and your procedures and your practices. Meet our needs and requirements. We don't have to meet yours just because you're the largest service provider in this area in Australia, doesn't mean you get to dictate what we have to do to access your services that we pay for out of our funding. I just don't get it. I really don't. So I created an email. I sent it off to the lady who works in this area. She sent it off to her manager, and they're dealing with it. Nothing's going to change. It's going to stay the same because the people who write these policies and procedures and what we need to do to meet their requirements to provide a service to us, they either live in Sydney or Melbourne, so they've got no idea the distances, and how hard it is for people in country areas, regional and remote areas. Change your policies and your procedures, change your practices, meet our needs and requirements so we don't have to adhere to your policies and procedures. It's ridiculous. It just frustrates the hell out of me. And I'm rethinking volunteering for this organisation in the future because this is the third time I've had to deal with this issue of people being told unless they have funding, they can't help them. It's not true. Not with this organisation. They're always holding their hand out for public donations from the private citizens or businesses. Then they get paid big money from the NDIS. I'll give you another example of where they've let me down personally. I bought a device that I need to listen to talking books, MP3 files, all that sort of stuff. Brand new. Paid through it to the NDIS, got it home, unpacked it, turned it on, checked to make sure it all worked. Great, fantastic. It works. I was able to put stuff on the SD card, no problems. Threw the box away, and I had to wait 2 weeks before I can find out what the Wi-Fi password was. So when I found out what the Wi-Fi password is, I tried putting it in numerous times, didn't work. So I rang up this organisation and spoke to someone who specialises in the area and told them that I continually put the password in and won't accept it. Oh, hang on, they said. What internet provider do you have on Telstra? He said, oh, there you go, that's it. And I said, what? He said, Telstra, it's not compatible with that device. You have to change your settings in your modem. So I don't know how to do that. And I said, and I'm not the only one in the house. I have a wife and 2 kids. They all have their own devices. So I have to change the settings in the modem and reprogram everything. Why wasn't I, if this was known by this organisation, why wasn't I told that this was going to be a potential problem? I can't send it back. I don't have the box. Why didn't they tell me when I purchased it? Oh, you might have this problem. Be aware. Buy at your own risk. And I wouldn't have bought it. Would have found something else. They knew this was a problem, but they said nothing when I purchased it. How is that right? Because they were getting paid a postage and handling fee, which is astronomical, especially when things can be sent through the post for nothing. I mean, this organisation really needs to clean itself up and look at its practices. Might even lodge a complaint to the NDIS about this organisation. I've had it with them. People have been given the wrong information. They're telling us what we have to do so we can pay them to help us. Shouldn't we be telling them what we need for them to help us? Not what they need for them to help us to get paid? It's wrong. Very wrong. And I'm not happy. I'm not happy for myself. I'm not happy for this person I was trying to help last week. And this is the third time it's happened. The third time, the third person. It's not good. I've put in complaints in the past, recommendations, and they've just been ignored because it's not their best practices, because they have to do everything the way they see that best suits them, not the clients. When they're getting paid to help us, then they should meet our needs and meet our requirements. Not the other way around. Now, I've been on Facebook and I've been looking on the internet, and the amount of people with all different types of disabilities who are stuck in limbo because they're being given the wrong information. They're jumping through all the hoops they need to jump through, filling out all the paperwork, but they're still stuck in limbo. It's not one or two, it's thousands. I'm telling you, it's thousands of people. And when it's thousands of people, there's something wrong with the system. If you don't believe me, go and have a look for yourself. There's plenty of things on Facebook that you can look for. Just type NDIS in, or My Aged Care, or the disability pension, and a little pop up for you. I don't know. I just get so frustrated, and I get anxious, not just for myself, but for everyone else who's in the same boat. What else can I do? Do I stop volunteering? Do I stop helping people? I put in complaints, nothing's changed. And this is part of the problem, because if something works for you and you're happy with it, that's okay. But if you hear somebody else is having problems with it, then obviously something's wrong. It's not just one person or two people or three people, it's a lot of people. And we all know, because I do it myself. When things are going well, I just let things ride. I don't sort of try and make waves, because I'm concentrating on what I need to do to get through the day. I'm concentrating what I need to do, to get a job or stay employed or to be a parent. Wake up, everyone. Just because something's working for you doesn't mean the system's good and working for everyone else. Just be aware. There are a lot of people out there who are stuck in limbo. It's like treading water out in the ocean. You can't see land, you don't know which way land is. So you've got three options. One, you keep treading water. Two, you hope that a boat comes past, plucks you up out of the water and saves you, or three, you sink. And we always talk about all these achievements that people do, you know, achieving their life goals, you know, playing sports, getting into politics. That's fantastic. And we also see on things on the news where people are being abused, who have hit rock bottom. They're having mental health issues because they're not getting the help that they need. So we always talk about those two, you know, the people who are achieving and the people who aren't. But what about all the people who are stuck in limbo, or jumping through all the hoops, filling out all the paperwork, doing everything they need to do, but still aren't being helped? What about them? There's just as many people in limbo than there are people who are succeeding or failing. Now, I've talked to a lot of people over the last few years, and the ones I talk to who are going there advocating and helping other people all say the same thing. We're trying to make it better for future people. You know, the people who are going to follow in our footsteps, who have disabilities, who are born with them or acquire them throughout their life. We're trying to make things better for them so they don't have to go through the crap we're going through. So we know how hard it is. We know what it's like to be isolated, frustrated, alone, angry. That's why we try and help as many people as we can. But all those people who sit back and because everything's working for them and everything going well, they forget about the rest of us. And I've been guilty of that myself in the past, but you know, this is why I try and help people where I can, because I know personally what it's like. It's hard. It's draining. It's frustrating. Like I said, I'm still deciding whether or not to stop being a volunteer for this organisation because they're not listening. They're just going to do what they want to do. You know, all the people in the cities. Like NSW means New South Wales, not Newcastle, Sydney, Wollongong. This organisation has one person that covers 110,000 square kilometres by themselves. They work out of the office in Tamworth. They're the only one there, and they're on the road all the time. I spoke to this person numerous times, and they do a lot of the bookwork and paperwork in their own time that they don't get paid for. Yet we sit back and we just appreciate it, and you know, we don't go back to the organisation and say, "Hey, you know, you're going to overwork this person. You're going to, you know, you're going to wear them out. They're going to leave, and the next person might not be as kind and generous with their time as the current person is. We don't know what we're going to get in the future when if this person ever leaves. Anyway, um, well, that's what I wanted to talk about today was this organisation and how they're telling us what we need to do, and they won't help us. We have funding and what we need to do to access their services and what we need to provide for them so they can help us, so they can get paid. Just doesn't seem right to me. Is anyone in chat? No. No one at all? No, bugger. I want to also talk about, I put the question out there for the last couple of weeks. Is aging in itself a disability? And I've had a lot of responses saying, yeah, maybe it is, or no, it's not. And once you're over 65, that's it. Yeah, the feedback I got was either for it or against it or undecided. Yeah, but the people who are against it, they were adamant that there are enough, especially with my aged care, that there's funding available. Yeah, no, not in all cases. But I still don't know why someone in their 20s or 30s who has a stroke and ends up with a lifelong impairment with their speech and their mobility can get the NDIS, but someone who's 65 and a half or has a stroke is left in the same position as someone in their 20s to 30s can't access an NDIS. And you look at disabilities in the dictionary, the definition. It's a lifelong impairment to the bodily function. Or it says impairment or handicap. Oh, I hate that word handicap. It's such a derogatory term for me. But I truly do believe that aging in itself is a disability, because as we age, we all get slower and mobility decreases. Our senses decrease, the sight and hearing. Our ability to mend after an accident decreases. I don't know. There needs to be some sort of system to help people over 65. I don't know what it is, but we can't keep going saying, just go back to my aged care and there's plenty of funding there. Well, there is funding, but it's not an endless bucket. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about this week. Let me know what you think. Send me an email. Is he out? No. Yeah, so just leave me a comment about what I spoke about this morning. Let me know whether I should stay as a volunteer or just stop, because I am getting frustrated. I'm trying to do the right thing and help people out so they're not left in limbo and they're not anxious and frightened and feeling vulnerable. And me being accused of putting up roadblocks. Yeah, it's just not right. Shame on that organisation. Shame on any organisation that does that. So if you don't get funding through the NDIS and my aged care, we can't help. Anyway, we'll end it there. Thanks, Chris.